we go again, another day. So today is Wednesday. I'm just doing a little update, saying hi. So it's Wednesday, about the 17th. Of October. And I'm out here on my... I'm going to go for a little ride on the bike and talk about what I always talk about, the composition of the male and the female soul. The female soul is composed of 80 to 85% electrons and 15 to 20% protons, and the male soul is composed of 80 to 85% protons, 15 to 20% electrons. Dark matter is an atom with a neutron, a foundational building block that lubricates the universe. So you see at the center of all the different elements on the periodic chart or atomic chart, each one of the atoms is composed of a certain number of protons, electrons, and at the core it has a neutron. And the neutrons are the dark matter. In the beginning, the universe was filled with just dark matter. So I'm stating that the universe is like an amoeba cell, where it expands and contracts. So we have these universes that these super souls, these yin-yang beings, in combination of a male and a female soul, they're a living entity, and they call them a super soul. And these super souls create these amoeba-like universes for the lower of the super souls, lower vibrational super souls to go into to purify themselves. So they come into these universes. The outer field wall membrane of the universe is composed of 50% protons, 50% electrons, and the super souls are composed of 50% protons and 50% electrons. So you see in the yin and the yang here, they'll say plus and minus. Well, the plus and minus is the protons and the electrons. And nobody's correlated that in history besides myself. So we've all said black, white, positive, negative. By myself being a scientist and a religious scientist, I was able to put the two together and see the correlation. Whereas most people are scientists and most people are religious specialists. And few people have taken a holistic approach to merging science and religion as I have. So the positive and negative is the protons and the electrons. And you see the little spot inside the black spot inside the white. That's some of the other that's in there. So the female is 80 to 85% electrons, 15 to 20% protons, and the male is 80 to 85% protons and 15 to 20% electrons. So the outer field wall membrane of our universe is composed of 50% protons, 50% electrons, and the super souls are 50% protons, 50% electrons, and they're a living entity. So they come into our universe, and give a direction to come in, and they split apart. That splitting apart creates massive amounts of energy, the dark energy. And the dark energy comes from the dark matter, that neutron being stimulated so much that it takes on, when the super souls split apart, they shed their protons and electrons, some of them. And so they split apart into a male and a female soul. So this is the male soul is 80 to 85% protons, 15 to 20% electrons, and a female soul of 80 to 85% electrons, 15 to 20% protons. But each one is a living entity, just as together outside in heaven in the celestial realm, they were a super soul and they were together a living entity. So they came in, split apart. Now in the beginning, the universe was just filled with dark matter. That's right, atoms with a neutron. That's it. And everything was static. And the dynamic event was the super souls coming in, splitting apart. And that splitting apart stimulated the dark matter and created dark energy, and then it took on the protons and electrons depending on the magnitude of the splitting apart of the super soul. Now the 50,000 super souls came in at the same time. That area, the dark matter would be so stimulated that it would create the higher elements. So now you're a male and a female soul, you're in the universe. How do you get back out? Well, yoga. Yoga means, which I've studied yoga for a lifetime since I was 6, because the neighbor up the street was a doctor, and he practiced the Ayurvedic system, and he also practiced Western technology. And so I learned from him, and then I also learned from a Chinese man the meridian into the body and the Chinese medicine. So I was very lucky to be able to, at a young age, have contact with these people, these souls that had that knowledge. And they shared it with me, and I absorbed it very much. And so I spent a lifetime studying all the interrelationships between science and religion. And so that's how I correlated the plus and the minus on the yin-yang being protons and electrons. And that's what I will be famous for, because I am the only one in history that made that correlation up till now. Now that I've said it, other people will say it, but before and up until this date, you'll find that nobody on the planet has spoken that. Now my YouTube site, Grandmaster T Yang, GrandmasterTi, yeah, Grandmaster T, GrandmasterTi, and then Yang. That'll show what these videos are, what I'm doing during the day. So I put together a spiritual organization, and I'm looking for people, females, to help me bring about the phase 2 of the 60s spiritual revolution that my wife and I were working on for the past 25 years, because she passed away 3 years ago. So as you can know, if you've ever lost a spouse and you're a widow or widower and you were in love totally and didn't have a bad relationship, you know how much that hurts. So it's taken me 3 years to come back, like Bill Clinton. So I'm back, and I'm looking to rescue humanity and heal the earth in a nonviolent manner. Now, because I walked out without a lighter, I'm going to carry my bike all the way upstairs into my apartment. And I want to thank you for listening to me and spending the time. Love one, love all, love, love, love. But don't be a sucker! Okay? Bye.